All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to start with our fireworks file, and we're going to try to create something that looks exactly like that using the basic template that we've came up with in HTML. Now our HTML, notice it has an ID called wrapper, header, main content, sidebar, and footer, and these match our layers in fireworks off to the side here of header, wrapper, sidebar, and footer. We don't have a main content one, so we'll have to create that layer, but that's basically going to be this empty space here. So the first thing we'll do is we'll set our wrapper to have the exact height and width that we want it to have. So we know by clicking on wrapper that we can see down in the corner here that we have 960 by 800. So let's come into our HTML, and under a title tag, set up a style tag, saying style type equals text / CSS, and close your style tag. And then we're going to first select our wrapper. Notice that if you have ID in your HTML, then in your CSS you're going to use the hashtag or pound tag, as non-webbies like to say. And we're going to set the height to be, the width to be what? 960. And the height to be what? 800. And now we could do the little trick that we learned to be able to center it in the screen. So if we say margin 0 auto, we now have all the code that we need for the wrapper. The final thing we'll do is just test it, and we'll give it a background color the same as we have in Fireworks. The nice thing about working with Fireworks is that it's set up for web designers. And if I click on an element, like if I click on my wrapper and then come down to the paint bucket and the properties tool at the bottom, if I click on this, it'll show me what color code I'm using in hexadecimal, and I can just copy and paste that straight over from Fireworks into my code. So again, if you select any element, click on it, and then select the paint bucket, you could see up top here, if you hover over the text, and you could copy and paste the exact color code in hexadecimal. So we've got our wrapper. Let's jump over to the browser and test it. We could see, all right, that looks pretty good. I've got some extra space coming up here, and that's browser related. We'll skip over that for now, but let's go ahead and keep going with our design. The next thing we'll design is our header. And if we come into our Fireworks file, we select header, and we can see it's 960 by 200. So let's go into our CSS and mark up that code. So now I'd say header is going to be width 960. And my height is going to be 200 pixels. The background color that I have for mine is, if I select on it, click the paint bucket, it's 6666666. And if I test that in the browser, it should have a good header going. Now the next part is our sidebar and our main content. And these are going to be a little bit different because we have to set these to be floating left and right. So let's go look at our sidebar in Fireworks. And we can see that our sidebar is 200 pixels wide. Height-wise, it's going to come up to about 560, 540. Height, we're going to make it 540. All right. So for our sidebar, before we even start saying the height and width, we're going to add in and just say, hey, make sure that you're floating to the left. So we say float to the left, have a width of 200 pixels, and have a height of 540 pixels. Background color, mine was this crazy color. And now I could go back to the browser and test that. Notice that it's sort of working, although there seems to be some code above my sidebar that is going to be my main content, and we'll take care of that next. What you'll notice, though, is that in Fireworks, we never actually drew a space for main content. So we're going to have to create that on the fly. And the way we'll figure it out is it'll have the same height as the sidebar, but it'll just be the rest of the width. So we know that our full width is 960, and this is 200. So 960 minus 200 is 760, and that will be the width of our main content. So the main content will be 760 by 540, and we could go ahead and create that now. First line we're going to tell it is float right, to make sure that it goes to the right of the sidebar. And then we'll set the width to be 760 and the height to be 200 pixels. 540 pixels. And to make mine stand out, I'm going to change the background color to white, or as the hexadecimal value would be FFF. So we can see we're almost there. All we have left to do is color the footer, but I'm getting pretty close to what I started with in Fireworks. You know, maybe I don't like that. I think maybe I will end up using that gray there that I used for the wrapper. So I'll go and copy my wrapper color and put that into my background now that I know it's working. All right, last one to change is our footer. If we go into Fireworks, we see our footer is 60 pixels tall. And it is 960 wide. So we could use that information to come back into our code. And we'll code our final segment here, which is our footer. This one we don't need to float. The width is 960. The height is 60. And the background color, I chose the same one as my header. So I can come back up to my header, copy those 6s, and paste those down there. So let's see that, and let's see that. Uh-oh, it doesn't look like my footer's working. All right. We'll get into the reasons why later. But on your footer, it's very important, this one line of code that I've highlighted here, make sure that you put that. So sidebar is floated left, main content is floated right, and we need to say footer clear both for that to work. So make sure that that line of code is right there. But there you have it. In just a few minutes, this is how to create a basic 2-column layout, and what we'll look at tomorrow is going back and styling it and formatting it and making it look better.